low can these small-cap development stage biotech stocks go before the selling pressure eases up and people start thinking them as bargains? That's a difficult question to answer because in this market, if you don't have any earnings, your stock has no downside protection, especially when Hillary Clinton, the frontrunner for the Democratic nomination, starts making a lot of noises about the price controls for expensive drugs. Take Novavax, NVAX. It's a next-generation vaccine developer that, until a month and a half ago, had been one of the hottest stocks in the market, deservedly. We last spoke to the CEO on August 12th after Novavax had spiked up to $13.65, more than doubling year-to-date, after announcing some very positive data on their vaccine for RSV. That's a nasty, highly contagious respiratory virus. Since then, though, the whole biotech cohort's been destroyed. And Novavax's been crushed, too, down 53% since the interview, including a 40% decline just since the beginning of last week. What did the company do wrong? Nothing! In fact, there's been very little company-specific news, with the exception of some really good news this morning when Novavax made the announcement about their maternal immunization program. For example, the company released some very positive top-line data from its phase 2 maternal RSV vaccine trial, along with an $89 million grant from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to fund the vaccine's phase 3 clinical that starts next year. You'd think that this would be the kind of good news that could send Novavax higher. It was up big initially. Then it got crushed off 21%, in part because of an analyst from Piper Jaffray claiming that the results, quote, fell short. But mostly because the stocks of this group have gone way out of style. Has Novavax taken enough lumps that you can start picking at its stock, or is the hatred for biotech so great the pain here might be difficult to quantify? You know that's going to be up to you, but let's check in with Stanley York, who's the president and CEO of Novavax, get some clarity. Mr. Welcome back to Mad Money. And at one point, your stock was up so big that I said, well, this is going to be the most exciting new breakthrough. And I, like many other people, when so your stock went down, said maybe it wasn't a breakthrough. Can you please talk about the science versus the stock?
Yes. So fortunately, my days don't go up and down by my stock price. So what we do is we focus on executing our clinical trial strategy. And we told you back in January, the first time I was on your show, that we were going to attempt to complete 5 clinical trials by the third quarter of this year. One of them was Ebola, one of them was a quadrivalent flu, but 3 of them were in an important area where there has been no vaccine, even though the industry has been working on RSV vaccines for 60 years. And we reported on one of those about a month ago in the elderly, where we showed something that was a true breakthrough. We showed for the first time our vaccine protects, and in the hardest population, which is the elderly, which would predict that it would also protect in the maternal immunization and in pediatrics. So today, my team presented a brilliant show, which is the data in the pediatrics, which showed high levels of antibodies, which would be predicted to be protective, and then in maternal immunization, where you're trying to protect newborns. So RSV is the biggest cause of hospitalization of kids under 1 year old in the United States, and the most at risk are the kids in the first 90 days of life. So over half those kids are hospitalized.
This is not, unlike some of the orphan drugs, a small population that's impacted, right?
No, this is broad. This is the biggest cause of hospitalization in the United States. It's a global problem. Millions. And in the elderly, there are 2.4 million infections every year. And in newborns, 60-some-odd% in the first year of life get infected by RSV. And it's a global problem. And therein, we have our new partner, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who saw this data from our maternal programs, showed that we had high levels of antibodies in the mothers, and that those antibodies, the ones that we would predict to be protective, were transferred to the newborn, as mothers always do. And then we showed that those antibodies, we've only have 2 months worth of data, but we showed that the antibodies are high enough level that we would predict they'd get at least the first 90 days of protection, which is huge, and satisfied the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation such that they invested $89 million.
Okay, let's talk about that, because you can take your cue from the stock, which is what analysts tend to do, or you can take your cue from people who are smarter than we are. My understanding is that is not an easy grant to get, that they don't give the grants to anybody, that they make it so it's impactful.
Well, so their mission, one of their core missions is to protect infants in low-income countries from death from pneumonia. And one of the biggest causes of that is RSV. And so what they think, the problem they're trying to solve is that drugs and vaccines new drugs and new vaccines that get approved in the United States and Europe in high-resource countries. And it takes 15 years to trickle down into low-resource countries. So their goal is to support us so that we'll develop this vaccine globally at roughly the same time.
All right. Well, what people have to realize, again, you can take a cue from the stock. I know the stock. Look, we're in a bear market. I've said that over and over again. But that doesn't mean the facts are bearish. That's Stanley Erck, the president and CEO of Novavax, with a very big positive study. Doesn't mean a thing right now. I know that. It will someday, as I keep telling you. Stick with Cramer. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.